guys know me. I'm a busy guy. I work a full-time job, and I'm always looking for ways to be more efficient, have a better workflow, and find more ergonomic cameras, which has got me thinking lately, why are all of the cameras in 2020 so focused on specs? Well, that's why I'm here today. Today we are getting nerdy, dirty mustache gang nerdy.
Let's do this.
Alright, so this week we are talking camera ergonomics. Now when I say camera ergonomics, I mean the actual day in and day out usage of the camera. For some reason, most YouTube channels gloss over these features as it isn't user-friendly or the menu could be better, and then they give no actual concrete examples. I want to break the walls around this and deep dive into things that I like or things that drive me crazy as a hybrid shooter. So with that, let's get right into it. Now in this video, we're going to be comparing Sony and Panasonic, and all of the footage going forward was filmed on the Pocket 4K, just for reference. Real quick here, as we begin, I want to talk about UOM, or unit of measure. In this video, I'm going to be referencing moves in a sequence. This is mostly coming from my super nerdy junior high days when I used to refine my times of solving Rubik's Cubes, just when you thought I couldn't get any nerdier. Back then, a move in a sequence was a twist of the cube, and a sequence of moves would get you from one pattern to the next until the cube was solved. We're going to use this moves analogy today to refer to an action we have to take to change the state of a camera to a different pattern. All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes. All right, let's start off with an easy one, custom modes. As a hybrid shooter, I am enjoying taking photos just as much as I am shooting video these days. Being able to have good custom modes for my video profiles is essential. For my Panasonic cameras, once these are set up, this is a one-move sequence. I can go from aperture photo mode to a custom video mode at the turn of a dial. The same thing applies to my Sony, except for this annoying confirmation menu pops up, and this one is actually a two-move sequence. It's a small annoyance, but guys, this will be the theme of today, because the little things add up over hours and hours of shooting. Alright, and on to the next one, changing your focus mode. Panasonic has something brilliant, and every time I use the Sony, I miss it. I'm constantly switching between autofocus and manual focus. I use them both heavily in my workflow. On a Panasonic, there is a dedicated switch to go between continuous and manual focus. This is again a one-move sequence. So nice. On Sony, there is no dedicated dial, so I have a custom button for focus, but you have to press the button, scroll to the focus setting you want, then press OK. This is at the very least a three-move sequence. And in video, it's usually four. Again, I'm being picky here, but these little things add up on a day-to-day basis. Okay, so we've kind of dinged Sony twice at this point. Let's give them some props. The dedicated exposure dial is actually something I really enjoy having. I didn't think I would like this at first, but now I'm obsessed. Being able to tweak auto exposure on the fly is so handy for someone who shoots in aperture priority mode most of the time. Panasonic does have a way to set their back dial to behave the same way, which is nice, but depending on the mode, you then lose the dial. With initial skepticism, I will say Sony. I've come around to this one. And now let's talk white balance. I don't like how either of these cameras do it, honestly. Way too many moves. I wish camera companies would add another dial somewhere on the camera that you could even set to either cycle custom white balances or cycle through the Kelvin scale. A one-move white balance dial for video would be a godsend. For photos, I just shoot auto and edit my RAWs, so no biggie there. But for video, white balance matters. Okay, and the last big one I care about is shooting modes. I do tend to rotate between burst shooting and single shot, landscapes for single and more creative stuff for burst modes. I want to capture those interesting movements or moments, but that means that the ability to switch between the two needs to be as clean as possible. Again, Panasonic always has a dedicated dial for this, and I love it. This makes for a one-move sequence. We run into a similar story on my Sony. Sure, I have a custom button for it, but I have to scroll through my options to cycle back and forth. This is another bare minimum 3-move sequence. It adds up, people. All right, let's do one rapid fire section here at the end. I love flippy screens. They should be on all cameras. Congrats, Sony, on finally getting with the program with their new cameras. Hallelujah. Also, there should be no lag in cameras. Sony, I hate how the a7 III doesn't feel as responsive as my Panasonics. They're all the same age. Oh yeah, and touch screens. Yeah, this should be standard these days. We all have touch phones. Also, touchscreen resolution should be higher. The a7 III just doesn't feel very high res. Doesn't instill a lot of confidence when you are focusing. But I think that's it for this video. Okay guys, and we are at the end of the video. If you thought this video was helpful, if you learned something about these cameras that you didn't know before, hit that like button. I would appreciate that. If you are here at the end thinking, hey, you beat up on Sony a lot, well, I did, and then maybe you're also thinking, so you must never use your Sony camera because it's inconvenient, you're all about efficiency, you must only use Panasonic. And unfortunately, guys, that's also not true. I actually use the Sony probably more than the Panasonic. I don't know. I use them both pretty equally. The thing is that the Sony has some other advantages that aren't specifically ergonomic button type related that I really enjoy. I love full frame. It's so handy for so many different things. And then Sony's autofocus is just incredible. I love taking pictures with this camera, and therefore I bring it with me places, and then I use it to film video as well. So yes, I kind of dinged on Sony a lot, but no, I still love Panasonic. If the new S5 could just have had like Sony's phase detect autofocus, I think I would have sold all of the cameras I own and bought like 2 of those cameras, because that camera is going to have all of the great Panasonic menu features. And then if it just could have not had stupid contrast autofocus, like, yeah, that would have been my dream camera. I've said it before, I'll say it again. If Panasonic, user experience could just have a baby with Sony's autofocus and Sony's dynamic range, like, that's my dream camera. But that's kind of why I find myself in this weird sort of multi-camera system. I can't find one that just perfectly fits all of my needs. So here's to crossing our fingers and hoping that that does come out. But that is all, guys. Stay beautiful. Don't forget, as always, that creativity comes from constraint. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.